Admiral Park Daeho stood at the window of his ship, looking out at the stars. The Soul's Pride was not the biggest ship in the galaxy, but it was home. For 20 years he had sailed between worlds, keeping peace and helping solve problems. That was what humans did best. They talked, they listened, and they found ways to make everyone happy. Today felt different. The message that came from Earth this morning made his stomach feel heavy. Ambassador Lee Hyun-woo was coming back from the Galactic Council meeting, and the news was not good. "Sir, the ambassador's ship is coming into the dock," said Captain Kim So-ra. She was young but smart, and Park trusted her completely. Her voice sounded worried. "Let him come up to the bridge right away," Park said. He had known Lee for many years. They had worked together to solve trade problems, stop small wars, and help new species join the council. Lee always smiled when he came back from meetings. Today, Park was sure there would be no smile. Lee walked onto the bridge 20 minutes later. His face was pale and his hands shook a little. Park had never seen him look so tired. "Tell me," Park said simply. Lee sat down heavily in a chair. "The Viridian Empire has given us 30 days. 30 days for what?" "To leave the Kepler system, all of it. Every human colony, every space station, every ship." Lee's voice was quiet. 2.8 million people, Daeho. They want us to take 2.8 million people and just go." Captain Kim stepped forward. "What did the council say? They have to help us. That's what the council is for." Lee laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "The council voted. 47 species against helping us. Only 12 said they would stand with humans. The others..." He shook his head. "They said it was better to lose one system than to fight a war that could hurt the whole galaxy." Park felt anger grow in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "What exactly did the Viridians say?" "They said humans are weak. They said we always talk instead of fight, so we will talk now and give them what they want. They have been watching us for 50 years and they think they know us." Lee stood up and walked to the window. "They said if we don't leave, they will come with their whole fleet and take the system anyway, and they will not be gentle about it." Dr. Yoon Ji-hee, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. She was the ship's expert on alien species and military planning. "How big is their fleet?" 3,000 ships, maybe more. They have been building for years, getting ready for this. They chose the Kepler system because it's far from the main council worlds. If they attack there, most species won't even see the fight. Captain Kim looked angry. "And the council thinks we should just run away?" "The council thinks humans are peaceful," Lee said. "They think we don't know how to fight real wars. They remember that we joined the council by asking nicely, not by conquering anyone. They think we are soft." Park walked to his desk and opened a locked drawer. Inside was a communication device that he had hoped never to use. It was connected directly to Earth's Unified Defense Command. "Sir?" Kim asked. "What is that?" "Something the council doesn't know about," Park said. He pressed a button and the device came to life. A screen showed the face of General Cho Min-seok, the head of Earth's military. "Admiral Park," the general said. "I was wondering when you would call." "You heard?" "We heard. The whole defense command is already meeting. How much time do we have?" 30 days, Park said. "The Viridians think we will spend that time loading people onto transport ships and running away." General Cho smiled, and it was not a nice smile. "The Viridians think many things about humans. Most of those things are wrong." He paused. "You have new orders, Admiral. Official orders from the President herself." The screen changed to show President John Mi-young. She looked tired, but determined. "Admiral Park, for 50 years we have been the peaceful species in this galaxy. We have been the ones who solve problems with words instead of weapons. The galaxy has learned to count on us for that." "Yes, Madam President. Today the galaxy has decided that our colonies and our people are not worth protecting. They have decided that being peaceful makes us weak." Her voice got harder. "They are about to learn the difference between choosing peace and being weak." Gay looked confused. "Madam President, what are you saying?" "I'm saying that diplomatic solutions have failed, Ambassador Lee. For the first time in 50 years, Talking will not solve this problem. She looked directly at Park. Admiral, you are no longer a diplomatic fleet. You are now the forward command of Earth's defense forces. Show the galaxy why humans earned the right to join the Council in the first place. The screen went dark. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Sir, Kim said slowly. What did she mean? We don't have a big military. Everyone knows that. Park smiled for the first time that day. Captain Kim, how long have you served on this ship? 5 years, sir. And in those 5 years, how many alien worlds have we visited? I don't know. Maybe 100? 137, Dr. Yoon said. I keep count. And at each world, what did we do? Kim thought about it. We talked to their leaders. We learned about their technology. We studied their military, ships when they showed them to us. We made friends and trade agreements. Yes, Park said. We made friends. We learned about their technology. We studied their ships. He paused. Tell me, Captain, what do you think we were really doing all those years? The truth hit Kim like cold water. We were learning. We were gathering information. For 50 years, every human ship that has traveled the galaxy has been learning. Every trade mission, every diplomatic visit, every peacekeeping job. We have been watching, listening, and remembering. Park opened another drawer and pulled out a thick book. This is just the technical information we have gathered on Viridian ships and weapons. We know how their engines work, how their shields operate, and what their weaknesses are. Lee sat down again, looking shocked. Are you saying that the whole time we were being diplomats, we were also being spies? We were being smart, Dr. Yoon said. Humans are good at learning from others. We learned languages, customs, technology, and military tactics from every species we met. We hoped we would never need to use that knowledge for war. Park pressed another button on his communication device. Bridge to engineering. Signal all human ships in this sector. Tell them to begin moving to Rally Point Alpha. Rally Point Alpha? Kim asked. A place where the galaxy will see something they have never seen before, Park said. Captain, send a message to the Viridian Empire. Tell them that humans have received their ultimatum. What should the message say? Park thought for a moment. Tell them that humans do not negotiate with threats. Tell them that they have 30 days to remove their ships from the Kepler system. Tell them that if they are still there on day 31, they will meet the real human fleet. Kim looked worried. Sir, what if they don't believe us? What if they think we are bluffing? Then they will learn something new about humans, Park said. Send the message. As Kim worked at her station, Lee moved close to Park. Daeho, please, tell me we actually have a plan. Please tell me this isn't just brave words. Park put his hand on his old friend's shoulder. Hyunwoo, for 50 years, the galaxy has seen humans as peaceful diplomats who solve problems with words. That was true. But they made one big mistake. What mistake? They forgot that peaceful people can be the most dangerous enemies of all. Because when peaceful people finally decide to fight, they have had a very long time to get ready. Outside the window, other human ships were beginning to move, heading toward the rally point. Soon, the galaxy would see what humans had been building, while everyone thought they were just talking. The Galactic Council chamber was buzzing with confusion. Representatives from dozens of species stood around talking in worried voices. On the main screen, they watched something that no one had expected to see. Human ships were moving. Not just a few ships like the small patrols everyone was used to seeing. Hundreds of ships all heading toward the same place. Ships that looked different from anything humans had shown before. Council leader Vrex 9 tried to keep order. Please, everyone, stay calm. We need information before we can understand what is happening. Information? The Altarian representative waved his forearms angrily. The information is right there on the screen. The humans are gathering a war fleet. That's impossible, said the Centauri delegate. Humans don't have war fleets. They have patrol ships and transport vessels. Everyone knows this. On Earth, General Cho Min-seok stood in the war room watching the same screens the council was seeing. Around him, officers worked at computers, coordinating the biggest military movement in human history. Sir, said Colonel Shin Woo-jin, commander, of the human Marine Corps. The first wave is in position. Jupiter shipyard reports all vessels ready to move. Saturn shipyard also ready, reported another officer. The new ships are performing better than expected. General Cho nodded. Send them out. It's time the galaxy met the real human fleet. At Jupiter, massive doors opened in what everyone thought was just a mining station. Out came ships that made the watching aliens gasp in shock. The vessels were huge, twice the size of the biggest ships in any other fleet. They moved smoothly and quietly like giant predators swimming through space. Captain Bae Jun-ho stood on the bridge of his ship, the Busan Ghost. His vessel was different from the big new ships. It was smaller, faster, and designed for stealth. For 3 years he had been testing it in secret, flying missions that no other species knew about. "Captain," said his communications officer, "we're getting signals from alien monitoring stations. They're trying to scan us." "Let them try," Bae said with a smile. "This ship was built to be invisible. Give me a full scan report on the Viridian fleet position." The officer worked at his controls. "Sir, the Viridians have moved most of their ships to the Kepler system. They have about 2,000 vessels there now, with more coming." 2,000 ships, Bae said thoughtfully. "They really think they need that many to fight us." At the same time, engineer Nam Yoonji was watching her life's work come to life. For 15 years, she had been designing weapons that the galaxy had never imagined. She had studied every alien technology humans had encountered, then found ways to make something better. "The quantum disruptors are working perfectly," she told her team. "Energy output is exactly what we predicted." "And the shield adapters?" asked her assistant. "Better than perfect. We can copy and counter any alien shield technology in real time." She smiled. "The Viridians use the same shield type as the Keth Empire. We learned how to break those shields 12 years ago." The council chamber was getting louder and more worried. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Human ships were appearing in places where no human ships had ever been seen. Ships with designs that no one recognized. "This is madness," said the Draxian representative. "Where did these ships come from? How many do they have?" Council leader Vrex 9 was asking the same questions. "Get me a direct communication link to Earth. I want to speak with President John immediately." On the main screen, the view changed to show the gathering human fleet. Even the council members who had seen the great fleets of ancient civilizations stared in amazement. The human ships were not just big, they were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They moved together like dancers, each ship knowing exactly where every other ship was going. In space near Rally Point Alpha, Admiral Park watched as more ships joined his fleet. The Soul's Pride, which had seemed like a normal diplomatic vessel just days ago, was now clearly something much more. Hidden panels had opened to reveal weapon systems that made his ship look like a predator showing its teeth. "Admiral," Captain Kim reported, "we now have 400 ships in formation. The Jupiter fleet is approaching, and Saturn fleet is 6 hours behind them." "How are the aliens reacting?" Park asked. Dr. Yoon checked her instruments. "We're being scanned by monitoring stations from 17 different species. Everyone wants to know what we are and where we came from." "Let them wonder," Park said. "Open a channel to all human ships." When the channel was open, Park spoke to his fleet. "Captains and crews of the human defense forces 50 years ago, our ancestors came to the stars looking for friends and peace. They found both. But they also found something else. They found that the galaxy can be a dangerous place for those who are not prepared to defend themselves." He paused, looking out at the ships around him. "For 50 years we have been preparing. We have learned from every species we have met. We have studied their strengths and their weaknesses. We have built ships and weapons that combine the best ideas from across the galaxy with human innovation." Captain Kim watched the fleet on her screens. She could see the massive dreadnoughts from Jupiter, each one carrying enough firepower to level a planet. She could see the fast destroyers from Saturn, equipped with technology that could bend space itself, and she could see hundreds of other vessels, each one designed for a specific purpose in the human way of war. The Viridian Empire thinks humans are weak. Park continued. They think we will run away when threatened. They are about to learn that there is a big difference between being peaceful and being weak. In the council chamber, President John's face appeared on the main screen. She looked calm and confident, not at all like someone whose species was facing a war. Council Leader Vrex 9, she said politely. I understand you wanted to speak with me. President Gian, we are seeing reports of massive human military movements. Can you explain what is happening? Of course, John said. The Viridian Empire has threatened to attack human colonies. Since the Council voted not to protect those colonies, we have decided to protect them ourselves. But where did these ships come from? Your species has never shown military capability like this. President Gian smiled. Council Leader, humans have been part of the galactic community for 50 years. In that time, we have made many friends and learned many things. We have always preferred peaceful solutions to problems, but we have never been helpless. The Altarian representative spoke up. Are you threatening the Council? Not at all, John said. We are simply showing that humans can defend themselves when diplomacy fails. The Viridian Empire believed that humans would not fight for our colonies. They were wrong. Back at Rally Point Alpha, more ships were arriving every hour. Captain Bay's stealth destroyers moved like ghosts around the main fleet. Engineer Nam's weapon systems powered up for the first time at full capacity. The quantum disruptors hummed with energy that could tear apart the fabric of space itself. Colonel Shin watched his Marines prepare for combat. These were not the peacekeepers that other species were used to seeing. These were soldiers trained for war, equipped with armor and weapons that no alien had ever faced. Colonel, one of his officers asked, what if the Viridians surrender when they see our fleet? Then we go home and hope they learned their lesson, Shin said. But if they want to fight... He looked at the massive human fleet gathering around them. Then they will learn why peaceful species can be the most dangerous enemies of all. Admiral Park received a message from Earth. General Cho's face appeared on his screen. Admiral, the Council is demanding answers. They want to know how we built this fleet without anyone knowing. What should I tell them? Tell them the truth. For 50 years, humans have been good students. We listened, we learned, and we prepared. Now it's time for the final exam. Park nodded. And the Viridians? They're calling for a meeting. They want to negotiate, Park laughed. Now they want to negotiate, after they threatened to destroy our colonies and kill our people. What's your response? My response is that humans don't negotiate with threats. If they want to avoid a war, they know what they need to do. Leave our system and never come back. As the human fleet continued to grow, the galaxy watched in amazement and fear. The peaceful species that everyone thought they knew had revealed itself to be something completely different. And everyone wondered the same thing. If humans had been hiding this kind of power for 50 years, what else didn't the galaxy know about them? The human fleet had grown beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. 847 ships now moved together in perfect formation, heading toward the Kepler system. Every alien monitoring station was watching them, trying to understand what they were seeing. Admiral Kang Jae-sung commanded the Northern Fleet from his flagship, the Daegu Thunder. He had spent 30 years in space, most of it pretending to be just another peaceful human explorer. Today, for the first time, he could show what he really was, a warrior. Admiral Kang, his communications officer reported, we're receiving surrender offers from 6 different species. They all want to make sure we know they were never enemies of humanity. Kang laughed. Yesterday they voted to abandon our colonies. Today they want to be our friends. Send them all the same message. Humanity remembers its friends and we remember our enemies too. At the front of the massive fleet, Captain Oh Ye-jin piloted her experimental fighter, the Sol Falcon. Her ship was small compared to the great warships around her, but it carried technology that could destroy anything in space. She had trained for this moment for 10 years, practicing attacks that no alien pilot had ever imagined. Sol Falcon, to all fighter squadrons, she called over her radio. Remember your training. We're not just fighting for our colonies. We're fighting to show the galaxy that humans are not the weak species they thought we were. Behind her, 400 other Fighters moved in perfect formation. Each pilot was ready to prove that human courage was just as dangerous as human technology. The galaxy was in panic. Emergency sessions were being called in every government. Military leaders who had never worried about human ships were suddenly trying to figure out how to fight them. In the council chamber, an emergency meeting had been going on for 12 hours. Representatives who had been confident about abandoning humanity were now terrified about what the humans might do to them. "We need to contact the Viridian Empire," said the Draxian representative. "Tell them to withdraw immediately. This has gone too far." "The Viridians aren't listening," Council Leader Vrex9 reported. "They say they will not be intimidated by human threats. They think this is all a bluff." "A bluff?" The Centauri delegate pointed at the screens showing the human fleet. "That's not a bluff. That's the largest military force anyone has seen in 300 years. Lieutenant Han Dong-hyun sat at his communications station aboard the Soul's Pride. He had been chosen to be the voice of humanity for this operation. His job was to make sure every species in the galaxy heard the human message clearly. "Lieutenant," Admiral Park said, "open a channel to every monitoring station, every government, and every military command in the galaxy. It's time they heard. From us directly." Han activated the most powerful communication system humans had ever built. His voice would reach every corner of known space. "This is Lieutenant Han Dong-hyun of the Human Defense Forces, speaking for Admiral Park Dae-ho and the combined fleet of Earth." His voice was calm but strong. "For 50 years, humanity has been a peaceful member of the galactic community. We have helped solve problems, stopped conflicts, and tried to make life better for all species." He paused, letting his words sink in across the galaxy. 3 days ago, the Viridian Empire threatened to attack human colonies and kill human civilians. They believed that humans would not fight to protect our own people. They were wrong. Commander Ryu Su-young watched from her stealth ship as alien vessels tried to get close enough to scan the human fleet. Her job was to keep them away and gather intelligence on how other species were reacting to the human show of force. "Ma'am," her sensor officer reported, "I'm detecting Keth Empire ships moving toward the battle zone. They might be planning to help the Viridians. Or they might be planning to help us," Ryu said. "The Keth are smart enough to pick the winning side. Keep watching them, but don't interfere unless they make hostile moves." Back on Earth, President John met with her military advisors. The whole planet was watching the events in space, and everyone knew that this moment would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "Madam President," General Cho reported, "the fleet is in position. Admiral Park is requesting permission to demonstrate our capabilities." "What kind of demonstration?" "We've identified an uninhabited star system about 6 hours from the main fleet. Admiral Park wants to show the galaxy what our weapons can do when we're not holding back." President Jian thought about it. "Make sure every alien monitoring station can see it clearly. If we're going to show our strength, let's make sure everyone understands the message." The human fleet changed course slightly, heading toward the empty system that had been chosen for the demonstration. News of the change spread quickly, and alien ships raced to get into position to observe what the humans were planning. "Captain, Oh Ye-jin received her orders personally from Admiral Park. Captain Oh, you and your squadron will conduct the demonstration. Show them what human fighters can do." "Understood, sir. Any restrictions?" "None. You have permission to use all weapons and tactics. Make it impressive." Oh smiled. For years, she had practiced with weapons that could tear apart reality itself. Today, she would finally get to use them for real. The chosen system had 3 dead planets orbiting a dying star. No life had ever existed there, and no one would ever live there. It was perfect for showing the galaxy what human weapons could do. "Soul Falcon to all units," O called. "Target the first planet. Remember, we want to completely destroy it, not just damage it. This needs to be something the aliens will never forget." Her squadron of 24 fighters spread out around the dead world. Each ship carried quantum disruptors that could break apart the atomic bonds that held matter together. No alien species had ever developed anything like them. "Begin attack pattern Omega," O ordered. The fighters dove toward the planet in perfect coordination. Their weapons fired beams of energy that seemed to bend space itself. Where the beams touched the planet's surface, matter simply stopped existing. In 17 minutes, the entire planet was gone. Not broken apart, not reduced to rubble, completely erased from existence. The alien observers watching from a safe distance could not believe what they had seen. Sol Falcon to second target, O called. Her fighters moved to the second planet. This time they used different weapons, reality warpers that twisted the laws of physics around their target. The second planet folded in on itself, becoming something that hurt to look at. Space around it bent and twisted until the entire world collapsed into a point of impossibility, then vanished. The third planet, O decided, deserved special attention. All fighters, full power demonstration. Let's show them what happens when we really try. 24 human fighters working together created something that no alien had ever imagined. They opened a hole in space itself, reaching into the energy that existed between dimensions. The third planet didn't just disappear, it was unmade, erased so completely that it had never existed. The alien observers were silent. In less than an hour, human fighters had destroyed 3 worlds using methods that no one understood. The demonstration was more terrifying than any battle could have been. Lieutenant Han's voice reached across the galaxy again. That was a demonstration of human defensive capabilities. We want peace with all species, but we will defend our people and our colonies with whatever force is necessary. He paused, then continued. The Viridian Empire has 27 days to remove all ships from human space. Any Viridian vessel found in the Kepler system after that time will be considered an act of war. The message was clear to everyone listening. Humans were no longer the weak, peaceful species that could be pushed around. They had become something far more dangerous. Admiral Kang received a message from his sensor crews. Sir, we're detecting massive movement in Viridian space. It looks like they're calling in every ship they have. How many? At least 3,000 vessels, sir. Possibly more. They're gathering everything. Warships, transports, even old museum pieces. Admiral Park heard the same report. The Viridians were not backing down. Instead, they were preparing for the biggest battle in galactic history. Signal the fleet, Park ordered. Set course for the Kepler system. If the Viridians want a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget. As the human fleet changed course toward the coming battle, every species in the galaxy watched and wondered. The peaceful humans had become something terrifying and powerful. And everyone knew that whatever happened in the Kepler system would change the galaxy forever. The Viridians thought humans would negotiate. They thought humans were weak. In a few days, they would learn how wrong they had been about everything. The Kepler system had become the center of the galaxy's attention. 3,000 Viridian ships waited in battle formation around the human colonies, confident that their numbers would overwhelm any force humanity could bring against them. Fleet. Admiral Park Dae-ho stood on the bridge of Seoul's Pride, watching as his fleet approached the massive enemy Armada. 800 human ships against 3,000 alien vessels. On paper, it looked like suicide. But Park knew something the Viridians didn't understand. Humans had spent 50 years learning how to fight this exact battle. Sir, Captain Kim Sora reported, the Viridian commander is sending us a message. He wants to talk. After threatening to kill our people? Park shook his head. Tell him that humans don't negotiate with threats. If he wants to surrender, he can do it unconditionally. The Viridian response came quickly. The Viridian Empire does not surrender to inferior species. You have 1 hour to withdraw, or we will destroy every human ship in this system. Dr. Choi Hai-wan, the ship's psychological warfare specialist, smiled as she listened to the Viridian message. For 15 years, she had been studying how different alien species thought and reacted under pressure. The Viridians, she knew, were proud warriors who couldn't imagine losing to anyone they considered weak. Admiral, she said, they're doing exactly what we predicted. Their pride won't let them retreat even when facing superior technology. Good, Park said. That makes this easier. Signal all ships. Begin Battle Plan Omega. Captain Lim Tae-kyung received the signal aboard his marine transport ship. For 3 years, he had been training his soldiers for this moment. A battle, that would use tactics no alien species had ever seen before. "Marines, listen up," he called to his troops. "We're not fighting this battle the way aliens expect. We're not going to line up our ships and shoot at each other until someone wins. We're going to show them how humans really fight." His ship and 40 others like it moved to the edge of the human formation. Inside each transport were 100 Marines equipped with technology that would let them board enemy ships instantly, no matter how strong their shields or armor were. Major An Subin worked at her command station, coordinating the psychological attack that would begin the battle. She had spent years studying Viridian culture, learning their fears and weaknesses. Today, she would use that knowledge as a weapon. "Begin Phase 1, she ordered. Across the human fleet, transmission arrays activated, but instead of sending normal radio signals, they projected sounds and images directly into the minds of every Viridian in the enemy fleet. The aliens suddenly heard the screams of their own people. Not real screams, but recordings from their own mythology. Stories of ancient monsters that had terrified Viridian children for thousands of years. "What's happening?" the Viridian admiral demanded as his bridge crew began to panic. "Where are those sounds coming from?" His science officer checked his instruments with shaking hands. "I don't know, sir. It's like the sounds are coming from inside our own heads." The psychological attack lasted only 30 seconds, but it had the desired effect. The Viridian fleet, which had been in perfect formation, began to spread apart as individual ships tried to escape the terrifying sounds. Their careful battle plan fell apart before the fighting even began. "Phase 2, Admiral Park ordered. Captain Oye Jin and her fighter squadrons had been waiting for this moment. They engaged their new cloaking technology, not the simple stealth that made ships hard to detect, but true invisibility that bent light around their vessels. 400 human fighters simply vanished from every sensor in the Viridian fleet. "Where did they go?" the Viridian admiral shouted. "Find those fighters!" But there was nothing to find. The human ships had become ghosts, invisible to every detection method the aliens possessed. The Viridian fleet began firing randomly into empty space, hoping to hit something they couldn't see. Their panic grew worse as their shots hit nothing but vacuum. "Phase 3, Park said calmly. This was Captain Lim's moment. His marine transports activated their teleportation systems, technology that humans had developed by studying quantum physics theories from 6 different alien species, then improving on them. 40 transport ships suddenly appeared inside the Viridian formation, their teleportation shields allowing them to materialize directly next to enemy vessels. Before the aliens could react, 4,000 human marines had beamed directly onto their ships. The Viridians had never faced boarding attacks like this. The human marines appeared in their engine rooms, their command centers, their weapon stations, everywhere at once. They carried weapons that could cut through any alien armor and force fields that protected them from enemy fire. "Bridge secured," Captain Lim reported from the Viridian flagship. It had taken his team exactly 4 minutes to fight their way to the enemy command center. "Admiral, we have control of their fleet commander." The battle was barely 30 minutes old, and already 200 Viridian ships had been captured by Marine boarding parties. The remaining ships found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't see, using tactics they didn't understand. "Phase 4, Admiral Park said. The human fleet finally revealed its true firepower. The massive dreadnoughts from Jupiter opened fire, with weapons that had been designed using knowledge from every species in the galaxy. Quantum disruptors tore through alien shields like they were made of paper. Reality warpers bent space around enemy ships, crushing them without even touching them. But the most terrifying human weapon was their coordination. Every human ship knew exactly where every other human ship was going to be. They moved like a single organism with 800 bodies, while the Viridian fleet stumbled around in confusion. Admiral Kang's Northern Fleet demonstrated the new human battle doctrine perfectly. Instead of fighting ship to ship like traditional naval combat, they fought like a pack of wolves hunting much larger prey. Human destroyers would appear out of nowhere, disable an enemy vessel's weapons, then vanish before the aliens could respond. The invisible fighters would strike at the perfect moment, hitting enemy ships when their shields were down for maintenance or weapons reloading. They knew exactly when to attack because they had been studying alien ship designs for decades. Commander Ryu's stealth ships moved through the battle like ghosts, appearing only long enough to plant electronic viruses in enemy computer systems. The viruses had been designed specifically for Viridian technology, and they spread from ship to ship like a plague. Within an hour, the massive Viridian fleet was falling apart. Their communication systems failed as human viruses corrupted their networks. Their formation collapsed as human psychological warfare drove their crews to panic. Their ships were captured one by marine boarding parties that appeared out of nowhere. "Sir," Captain Kim reported to Admiral Park, "the Viridian Admiral is requesting permission to surrender." "After he threatened to destroy our colonies?" Park said. "After he brought 3,000 ships to attack our people?" He thought for a moment. "Tell him he can surrender unconditionally. All weapons powered down, all shields dropped, all ships to remain exactly where they are." The Viridian surrender came 30 minutes later. Of their 3,000 ships, 800 had been captured intact by human marines. 400 more had been disabled by human weapons. The rest had either fled the system or surrendered, without firing a shot. The human fleet had suffered exactly 0 casualties. Dr. Choi monitored the alien communications networks as news of the battle spread across the galaxy. Every species was asking the same questions. How had humans become so powerful? How had they developed such advanced technology without anyone knowing? How had they won such a complete victory so easily? "Admiral," she reported, "we're receiving surrender offers from 12 species that supported the Viridians. They all want to negotiate peace treaties immediately. And the Council? Council Leader Vrex 9 is requesting an emergency meeting. He says the Council wants to apologize to humanity and discuss new security arrangements." Park looked out at the captured Viridian fleet. 3,000 enemy ships now flew human flags, their crews under guard by human marines. It was the most complete military victory in galactic history. "Send a message to the Council," he said. "Tell them that humanity accepts their apology. Tell them we're ready to discuss how to keep the peace in this galaxy. But make sure they understand. We're not the same species that joined the Council 50 years ago. We're not weak and we're not helpless. We're the people who just captured the largest fleet in Viridian history without losing a single ship." Captain Lim reported from the captured Viridian flagship. "Admiral, their commander wants to know how we did it. He says his fleet was prepared for any kind of normal space battle." "Tell him that's exactly the problem," Park replied. "He was prepared for a normal battle. But humans don't fight normal battles. We fight smart battles." As the human fleet took control of the Kepler system, the galaxy watched in amazement and fear. The peaceful species that everyone had underestimated had just proven that they were the most dangerous military force in known space. And the most terrifying part was that they had done it while showing mercy. They could have destroyed the entire Viridian fleet, but instead, they had captured it. 3 months after the Battle of Kepler, the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. The humans had not just won a military victory, they had changed everything about how power worked in space. Admiral Park Dae-ho stood in the council chamber for the first time since the battle. But this time, he was not there as a diplomat asking for help. He was there as the newly appointed Supreme Fleet Commander of the Galactic Defense Forces, wearing a uniform that represented the combined military might of 43 species. "The Council recognizes Admiral Park," said Council Leader Vrex 9. His voice was respectful now, very different from the dismissive tone he had used months ago. "Thank you, Council Leader," Park said. "I'm here to report on the implementation of the new Galactic Security Accords." The Accords had been humanity's idea, proposed by President Jian after the Viridian surrender. Instead of using their new military dominance to conquer other species, humans had offered something unprecedented, a real peacekeeping force that could protect any member of the galactic community. "The first Galactic Defense Fleet is now operational," Park continued. 70 ships from 12 species operating under unified command. They are currently patrolling the Outer Rim, where pirate attacks have decreased by 90% in the last 2 months. Captain Kim Sora, now promoted to Admiral, commanded one of those patrol fleets from her new flagship, the Harmony's Shield. Her crew included humans, Altarians, Centaurians, and even reformed Viridians working together. "Admiral Kim to all ships," she called during a routine patrol. "We have a distress signal from a Draxian transport. Possible pirate attack in the Vega system." The response was immediate. Ships from 4 different species moved in perfect coordination, using human tactical doctrine but adapted for each species' strengths. They arrived to find 6 pirate vessels attacking a helpless cargo ship. The fight lasted 12 minutes. The pirates, who had been terrorizing this sector for years, found themselves facing tactics they had never seen before. Human precision, Altarian speed, Centaurian firepower, and Viridian defensive systems working as one unit. "Pirate vessels disabled," reported the Altarian squadron leader. "No casualties on either side. Secure the prisoners and repair the Draxian ship," Admiral Kim ordered. "Then escort them safely to their destination." This was the new way of doing things in the galaxy. Not one species dominating others, but all species working together under human leadership. It was working better than anyone had expected. On Earth, President John Mi-young met with ambassadors from across the galaxy. The office that had once received worried diplomats asking for human help with small problems now hosted meetings that shaped the future of entire civilizations. "Madam President," said the Keth ambassador, "my government wants to contribute more ships to the defense fleet. We've seen how effective the new system is." "We appreciate that," Jian replied. "But remember, contributing ships means accepting human command doctrine. Your crews will need to train with our methods." "They're already requesting that training," the ambassador said. "Our military leaders have studied the Kepler battle extensively. They want to learn how humans achieved such coordination between different ship types." The answer to that question was sitting in a classroom on Earth, where Captain Oye Jin was teaching the new Galactic Naval Academy. Her students included the best pilots and tactical officers from 27 species, all learning human methods of space combat. "The key to human tactics," she explained to her mixed species class, "is not just having good technology. It's having everyone work together as one mind with many bodies." A young Viridian officer raised his hand. "Captain O, how do humans coordinate so perfectly? Our species has tried for centuries to achieve that kind of unity in battle." O smiled. "Because we don't think of ourselves as individual ships fighting individual battles. We think of ourselves as one fleet fighting one enemy. Every captain knows what every other captain is going to do before they do it. But how? Practice. Lots and lots of practice. And something else. We fight for each other, not just for ourselves. When you know that every other ship in the fleet will die to protect you, and you're willing to do the same for them, coordination becomes natural." The Viridian officer nodded slowly. His people had always fought for honor and glory. The idea of fighting for love and loyalty was new to them, but they were learning. Colonel Shin Woo-jin, now General Shin, oversaw the new Galactic Marine Corps. His headquarters on Earth trained soldiers from dozens of species in human combat methods, but more importantly, they trained them in human values. "A Marine protects civilians," he told his recruits. "Not just human civilians, all civilians. Not just your own species, all species. The moment you put on this uniform, every innocent being in the galaxy becomes your responsibility." The training was hard, but the results were impressive. Mixed species Marine units were proving to be incredibly effective at peacekeeping missions across the galaxy. They could understand and work with any species they encountered, and they fought with a coordination that amazed everyone who saw them. Ambassador Lee Hyun-woo had returned to the council, but his job was completely different now. Instead of asking for help, he was offering it. Instead of being ignored, he was the most listened to voice in the chamber. "The Galactic Security Accords are working," he reported to the council. "Piracy is down, territorial disputes are being resolved peacefully, and small conflicts are being stopped before they become wars." "What about the costs?" asked the Draxian representative. "Maintaining these defense fleets must be expensive." "Less expensive than wars," Lee replied. The Keth-Altarian border dispute last month was resolved by one patrol fleet in 3 days. Without the defense forces, that dispute could have become a war lasting years and killing millions. The Viridian representative, the same species that had threatened humanity just months ago, stood up. The Viridian Empire wants to formally thank humanity for showing us mercy. We expected to be enslaved or destroyed after our defeat. Instead, you offered us partnership. It was true. After capturing the Viridian fleet, humans had done something unprecedented in galactic history. They had given it back. Not immediately, and not without conditions. But they had returned every captured ship to Viridian control once the Empire agreed to join the new security system. The Viridian Empire pledges 50 ships to the defense fleet, the representative continued. And we formally request that Admiral Park remain as Supreme Commander for as long as he is willing to serve. Similar pledges came from around the chamber. Species that had once ignored humanity now competed to contribute to human-led peacekeeping efforts. Admiral Park, watching the session from his command ship, smiled as he listened to the reports. The Soul's Pride was now the flagship of the largest peacekeeping force in galactic history, but it was still home. Admiral, Captain Kim called from her own ship, "We're receiving a priority message from the Outer Rim. The Zelthari Empire is threatening to invade neutral space." "How many ships do they have?" Park asked. "About 500, sir, but they're using old technology and traditional tactics." Park thought for a moment. "Send the second fleet to handle it. Full diplomatic contact first. Give them a chance to withdraw peacefully. If they refuse, demonstrate our capabilities, and give them another chance. Only fight if they insist on it." "Understood, sir." This was how conflicts were handled now. Humans tried diplomacy first always, but if diplomacy failed, they had the power to enforce peace quickly and decisively. Dr. Choi Hae-won, now Director of Galactic Psychology Studies, monitored the cultural changes happening across the galaxy. Her report showed something remarkable. Species were becoming more cooperative, more willing to compromise, more interested in working together. "It's not just fear of human military power," she explained to President John. "It's admiration for human methods. They see that our way of doing things actually works better than the old ways." "What do you mean?" "For thousands of years, galactic politics was about strong species dominating weak ones. The strong took what they wanted, and the weak suffered. But humans showed a different way. The strong protect the weak, and everyone benefits. Isn't the arm?" John looked out at Earth's sky, where ships from dozens of species came and went daily. The planet had become the unofficial capital of the galaxy, not through conquest, but through leadership. "Do you think it will last?" she asked. "As long as humanity remembers why we're doing this," Dr. Choi replied. "We're not the galactic police because we're the strongest. We're the galactic police because we're the ones willing to do the job right." 6 months after Kepler, Admiral Park received a message that made him smile. It was from a small species, called the Mindy, who lived on a world far from any major trade routes. They had never been part of galactic politics because they were too weak to matter. "Great Admiral Park," the message said, "our world is being threatened by raiders who want to steal our children for slaves. We have no ships, no weapons, no way to defend ourselves. But we heard that humans protect those who cannot protect themselves. Please help us." Park immediately dispatched a patrol fleet to the Mindy homeworld. The raiders fled without a fight. When they saw human ships approaching, the Mindy sent a message of gratitude that was broadcast across